I always gotta thank Family Guy because I never really knew how to pronounce Cool Whip, and because of them, I learned. So, shout out to learning. I'm your host Andrew, and without further ado, here are your top 10 scary Family Guy theories that are too dark. Let's get right into this list. Coming in at our number 10 spot, we have the chicken fight. Let's talk about this chicken that Peter seems to be having a Michael Bay-esque fighting scene every single time they encounter one another. This strange feud all began when the chicken gave Peter an expired coupon, and from there, it escalated into increasingly destructive fights that involved innocent bystanders, vehicles, and even buildings. Although it just appears as a normal fight scene, Reddit user Trevor J414 made claims that these fights represents depression as a whole. Sorry to bring it down, but this is the theory. Think about it. Depression can strike at any time without warning. It can lead to destructive behaviors and coping mechanisms, much like the chaos that ensues during Peter's battles with the chicken. And just when you think you've won the battle against depression and you're all happy, it can sneak up on you again, much like the way the chicken always seems to come back to life after each fight. You know what I'm talking about. Every single time it opens the eye, show up the scene. At our number 9 spot, we have In Peter's Mind. Ever wonder how the Griffin family manages to escape with so much without facing any consequences? Well, according to a theory created by a Reddit user B-0308, it's all in Peter's head. This theory begins with Meg, who in this alternate reality was a popular and beautiful teenage girl who cared deeply for her younger brother Chris. I know, pretty crazy. But it is said that Chris in this universe suffers from a multitude of mental issues due to the lack of oxygen he had at birth. Then one night after heavy drinking, Meg crashed the car while driving her brother home. Unable to cope, Lois then took her own life while pregnant with their third child, who Peter named Stewie. Then this is when Peter descended into straight insanity and then created this world in his head where his family was still alive. Peter resents Meg for causing the deaths of everyone around him, which kind of explains his relationship with her.
Yeah, you're the new me!
Shut up, Meg.
Stewie's hyperintelligence is a creation of Peter's imagination, and his resentment towards Lois is reflected in Stewie's constant planning for her demise. Peter himself was a highly intelligent man, but in this world, he has turned himself into a complete idiot. The family dog Brian is therefore a representation of Peter's intelligent side. Cleveland, Quagmire, and Joe are real people in Peter's life, but their appearances in the show are representations of their visits to Peter in the mental hospital. Cleveland stops visiting Peter, leading to the creation of his own spin-off show. Number 8, not related. Now, there is a theory that has been brewing for some time regarding the Griffin family. Specifically, some fans have speculated that Peter may not be the biological father of his 3 children, Stewie, Meg, and Chris. And at first glance, you're probably thinking, this ain't a surprise. I mean, look at all his kids. They don't look like Peter at all, with the exception of Chris. And yeah, there's no denying that. It wasn't until an episode in season 15 that this theory gained serious momentum. In this episode, Peter donates some sperm, and the resulting offspring bears a striking resemblance to him. This begs the question, if Peter's biological children look so much like him, why don't Stewie and Meg share the same traits? Some fans have taken this as evidence that the 3 children are the product of Lois's many affairs over the years. And although this isn't confirmed, we all know Lois's past was pretty colorful, so this theory is definitely one that could be true. At our number 7 spot, we have Stewie manipulating time. Have you ever wondered why Stewie Griffin is still a 1-year-old infant after 20 years of the show? Cause whatever his anti-aging routine is, I need to get on that ASAP. Back to the theory, we all know he has a time machine that allows him to travel back and forth in time. It's said by Reddit user Infinity Scientist that Stewie uses this to keep his age the same while everyone around him is slowly growing up. And surprisingly, if you pay close attention, the characters do age, but very slowly. For instance, Meg started the series at 16 years old and is now 18, while Chris was 13 at the beginning of the show and is now 15. Lois turned 43 in an episode where she had a midlife crisis, and Peter claimed he was 58 a few seasons ago. Brian started the series at 7 and celebrated his 10th birthday in a recent season. So why does Stewie do this in the first place? Well, he could have chosen to do this because he's afraid of the responsibilities of adulthood, and this could be confirmed. Because in Stewie Griffin, The Untold Story, Stewie gets to meet his future version of himself. While Stewie does eventually prevent himself from having that near-death experience, it's possible he's still afraid of ending up as a pathetic nobody. To prove this theory even more, the opening of the episode Christmas Guy has Lois walking into the living room holding Stewie, telling the family that Stewie will be going to his first Christmas carnival. Stewie then says, quote, "Again?" Number 6, the multiverse. Just came back from a Marvel movie and it seems that I can't escape the multiverse theory anywhere I go. So Family Guy is just one of those shows where anything can happen at any time. Like imagine you're walking up to get groceries. Next thing you know, a humanoid chicken just starts fighting you to the death. That's kind of what I mean. This theory suggests that when the show first got cancelled in 2002, only 3 years after its debut, the old universe was completely destroyed, which is why the show is much more different after its re-release. And I'm not talking about all the new production and all that stuff. This means that everyone in the show before are gone, and the characters we see now are people in a new universe. The statistical reason for the show being cancelled is that it was getting low ratings against its time slot competitors, but it seems that they had more outside the box ideas following it. After the show came back, the plot lines were wackier than ever, including meeting Jesus and even searching for the world's funniest joke. Remember that episode? That was a good episode. In the hump of our list, we have Stewie's Dilemma. Many fans of the show have debated whether Stewie actually has a crush on Brian. And if you know, you know. While some viewers believe that Stewie's affection for Brian is romantic in nature, others argue that it's simply a case of Stewie mistaking his feelings of paternal or platonic love for romantic love. According to this theory, Stewie's dysfunctional upbringing has left him with a skewed understanding of love and relationships. Like his sister Meg, who is often shown to develop sudden infatuations due to her lack of love and affection at home, Stewie may be confusing his feelings of closeness and admiration for Brian as romantic love. However, this theory suggests that Stewie's connection to Brian is more akin to that of an uncle or even a second father figure, rather than a romantic interest. Stewie is portrayed as being closer to Brian than to his own father Peter, and in later seasons, Peter and Lois are shown to be distant from their children. This could lead Stewie to seek out emotional connections with other family members such as Brian. But as I mentioned in the beginning, if you know, you know. Number 4, Meg Is Stewies Mom. I know what you're thinking. This is just gross to think about, but Reddit user Nathan Jackson 1996 thinks otherwise. According to this theory, Meg got pregnant by an ex-boyfriend who then left town, leaving her to give birth to Stewie. To cover up the scandal, Lois and Brian helped Meg keep the truth a secret and pass Stewie off as their own. One of the reasons this theory is so intriguing is that whenever Lois is shown giving birth to Stewie, it's always from the point of view in cutaway scenes. We never see the actual birth happen, which could imply that the woman everyone thinks is Stewie's mother may not be the real one. In the episode Partial Terms of Endearment, Lois even jokes that Meg gave birth to Stewie, and Meg doesn't seem to be confused or react to the statement, which could suggest there's some truth to it. If Meg really is Stewie's mother, it would add a whole new layer of depth to the relationship, making their tender moments all the more heartwarming. For instance, in Peter's Lost Youth episode, when Meg apologizes to Stewie for leaving him in timeout for too long and they hug, it would take on a whole new meaning if they were actually mother and son. Number 3, CIA creating humanoid animals. In Family Guy, we see that some animals have human-like brains, opposable thumbs, and the ability to stand on their hind legs. This is usually explained by some as the next step in evolution or even as an act of God. As well, many people believe that the CIA are capable of transplanting brains into animals, which would mean that all the talking animals we see in the show are just a result of some messed up CIA experiment. So the theory claims that the CIA uses the brains of human subjects that are close to passing away and then puts them into an animal fetus whose brain isn't completely developed just so that it can hold the person's memories. As a result, human animals are not a cause for concern and are treated like any other minority. Number 2, Lois leaving Peter. There's a theory circulating that claims that Lois could be leaving Peter, or should I say Peter. In various episodes, Lois has dropped hints about her unhappiness with Peter's over-the-top antics, and even Stewie in a season 11 episode mentioned that she, quote, emotionally moved on. To add more fuel to that fire, Lois's wealthy father Carter has a history of hating Peter and even goes as far as offering her money to divorce him. So we know that she would be financially secure if she actually did so. Number 1, interbreeding. According to some fans, Chris, Meg, and Stewie could be the products of interbreeding. And I know, pretty gross. This is kinda why I left this at the end. It all comes down to a reveal made in season 4 where Peter tells the family about their family history. And we find out that Peter's great-great-grandfather, Nate, married Lois's great-grandmother. This means that Peter and Lois are blood relatives, and their children could be the result of interbreeding. Now before you get too freaked out, let's take a closer look at this theory. Some fans believe that since Peter and Lois are very distant relatives, and after so many generations, any potential genetic problems wouldn't be an issue for their children. Others disagree, saying that the appearance of Peter's biological father, the Irish Mickey McFinnigan, in season 5 proves that Peter is not related to Nate Griffin at all. Regardless of the truth of the matter, it's worth noting that the Griffin kids are known for their special personalities. Whether or not this is due to inbreeding is up for debate, but it certainly adds a very interesting layer to the show's characters. Well, these are the top 10 scary Family Guy theories that are too dark. What do you guys think about this list? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts and some suggestions for some future videos. We would like to know. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that bell notification so you never miss a future video ever again. I'm your host Andrew, and I hope you guys have a scary day.